My name is Bryant Horse Jr. Um, my spiritual given name is Oyate Chawa Nawichakichiji. I received that name in a Sundance from one of my sisters, and that means defend his people. So throughout my career, I have defended this nation. I came home and defended Native American rights, Indian rights, with many other people. So I stood up for Native rights, and that's how I earned that name, uh, defender of the people. So they would give that to me in Sundance. So it went on to become an education. I'm an advocate, and I stand up between the students, teachers, and community, and defend the students' rights and how they should be educated. I come from a community long ago called Puteoyate. It's called Lips Camp. Um, my father's name is Bryant Highhorse Sr. His father's name is Paul Highhorse, who raised me, and my teacher and my mentor. And his father's name is Chief Highhorse, who lived and died in Two-Strike after Little Bighorn. Chief Highhorse's brother, blood brother, close to brother, is Crazy Horse. So I come from the bloodlines and the family of Crazy Horse through my great-great-grandfather, who's related to him very closely. And so I always remember stories about Little Bighorn to present day as I live. So I feel very old when I talk about the past and the present, because I remember the days when I rode in wagons and horses and traveled here and there with my grandfather on wagons. And the day I was given the opportunity to drive a wagon, I was like 9 years old, but I felt like I was 20 because I was able to drive a wagon, 2 horses, and I was the happiest little boy in the world. And then after that, I was taught responsibilities, how to maintain, how to harness the horses, how to hook it up to the wagon, how to drive it, how to turn it. So at 9 years old, I knew the word responsibility in English and Lakota. So my cultural knowledge and English knowledge started with my grandpa, who taught me so many things about the world of Native American knowledge, ceremonies, and also always lectured to me about the levels of this life I'll be walking and where I'll end up. And always remember where you come from, he tells me. Always keep your language. Always keep your culture. But never lose your language and the knowledge, because people are going to need this knowledge in the future. And people are going to ask you to help them. And you have to help them, because you're going to lose this culture and language at some point. Because there's so much immigrants, different people coming into the reservation. And when we do that, our language is going to disappear fast, because we want to speak like them and be like them. So we're going to strive for that and leave our Lakota behind, which has happened. So in that sense, I was very grateful to be raised by grandparents, and never once I said to myself, I don't like it, I don't like to be here, it's hard work. I couldn't say that when I lived with my grandparents, because that time you had so much respect for your grandparents. So whatever was said, it's done. When they teach you something, you best get it right the first time and never make a mistake. And that's called good listening. And you will learn. And that's what I learned. So today I'm kind of a perfectionist. I want to do things right the first time. I get frustrated if it doesn't happen. So it was very interesting. But after my grandparents died, I went to live with my uncle in Chicago. So I started my journey at a young age, urban to urban, and then went to the military, came home, and then continued traveling, and then ended up back here. worked for the colleges, went back to college, ended up getting 2 master's degree, and today I teach for Lakota College, and I'm an adjunct part-time teacher when classes open for Black Hills State. And I also have been working for Rapid City School District for the past 19 years. So it's been a good journey.
Okay.
I've got 2 more years to go before I retire. But I don't have that word retirement in my vocabulary because I don't believe in retiring.
Right.
I'm going to work at high university, continue teaching. But when you called and told me about Bird Nation, my mind just opened up and I said, whoa, that is a good project. How I know about the Bird Nation is that through the ceremonies. When I was young, my adopted mom took me to ceremonies for healing. And the medicine man came out first. Everybody went in. Before we started the ceremony, he set me down on the log as a bench and told me in Lakota where I've been, what I've been through, but he will help me. And once we come out of the ceremonies, I have 30 days to accept what he's going to offer me. And he was talking about the cultural knowledge, cultural ceremonies, cultural ways. So as the ceremony was being done throughout the evening, my mind was on what would he tell me. But they used rocks to heal me. Round rocks my relatives had. That's what they used to heal me. Early in the morning when we finished the ceremonies, I never felt so good in my life. And I do believe at that time they gave my cultural knowledge, my own spirit, and who I am back to me, which was the greatest feeling. It's hard to explain because when that happens, there's no explanation spiritually. I always tell people, you have to experience that feeling. It's very awesome. And here, the first thing he said was, when you go home, there'll be owls watching you. I said, why the owls? And when I said that, he said, well, the perception today is that the owls are looked at as evil things at night. He said, no, that's another culture, another tribe that thinks that way. A Lakota culture is not like that. An owl is a protector and a messenger at night. So when you see that owl, you say ha-ho or offer tobacco and thank you, here's tobacco, either one. And then drive on. And the owl will be seeing every so many miles, that owl will take you home. My adopted mom that time told me, there's your first owl. I must have counted. And he said, you don't have to count the owl because the same ones will take you home. And sure enough, when we went home, the owl was sitting on top of the post and make sure I went in the house. And then they told me during the daytime, the hawk will be following me. If I said my prayers, the hawk will be my guide. And then if I really needed prayers and threw tobacco out and prayed as I traveled, the eagle will come to see me 4 times in my travel. And it has happened so many times. And then 2 of my spiritual brothers and guides are the most beautiful coyotes in this world. They're pure white with pure blue eyes. And they're my spiritual guides. So far I have seen them 6 times. They just come to check on how I'm feeling, I'm okay. And when I speak Lakota to them, they understand that I'm okay. And then they look at me and they turn around and walk away. And I don't want to say where I've seen them because I don't want the hunters to track those white coyotes and, shoot at them or stuff like that. So I always say that they're out there and they're all spiritual animals that help mankind for healing and guidance. But we never open our mind and eyes to what's been said. But it's still here. That spiritual meaning, that cultural knowledge is here. But the animal nation is also our relatives, very closely. And the animal nation, we are part of them and they are part of us. One of the greatest things about hawks is that they're very intelligent. And the falcons are the ones who are the messengers during the World War One and World War Two. And when they tied notes on the falcons, how did the falcon know to go to another American unit without reading the map? And the falcon would do just that. And they would answer, well, when the right answer put it on its neck, it'll come back to the same unit. And then when instructed to go to another unit, that falcon will take that message to the other units. So that falcon had the knowledge of a human as a soldier. So all these planes and back then they didn't have these cell phones, so they used the falcon as a messenger. And he did a good job in the World War I and World War II. So if you look at each bird, how smart, intelligent, the things that they could do is so interesting. And then when you get to the, come back here and look at the woodpecker. The woodpecker has a job in the forest. If the woodpecker would go more into the forest, you wouldn't have this, they call it beetle problem. You see, he has such good ears that he can sit on a tree and hear the beetle scratching in there. And he'll tap it so quick and suck that beetle out of that tree. And then that tree would grow again because it made a hole to it so the tree can breathe and the tree will get taller. And that's the purpose of the woodpecker. And the woodpecker is supposed to be watching and taking care of the trees. But for some reason, you don't see too much woodpeckers today. And then the other bird is the meadowlark. The meadowlark is out in the prairies amongst the northern plain Indians. He warns the animals of snakes, of people coming after them, shooting them. The meadowlark's purpose is to warn the animals so that you see the meadowlark amongst animals. And then when he hollers in a certain manner, if you listen well, he's talking to you that there's something coming, so he's warning you. And so long ago they would say, go sit on a hill. Take some water, sit on a hill, listen. Listen very carefully. You'll hear 4 or 5 different types of birds, and each one has a different language to talk to you. And if you go into the forest and watch the birds have a job in the forest to protect the trees, and each one does its job. But we go into the forest as bird watchers to look at the beauty, try to identify what bird it is, and that's far as we go. We need to go further and say, what's the purpose of this bird? And watch it and track it. Even if we have to stay 2 nights to see what it does, where it sleeps, what it eats. It's like a human person in the forest. And we are part of that, so it's teaching us. These animals are our mentors and teachers of the universe. And they're also weather advisors, birds. And when you talk about that, any bird nation that flies in a certain direction, you know there's something coming. For instance, if you live in the forest and all these birds gather and got under the trees, away from the wind, they tell you there's a strong bad wind coming, so they're trying to find shelter. And that's what they're trying to tell us. And we don't ever look at it that way. One of the most sacred birds that the Lakotas cherish and respect is the eagle, Wambali. We really, really respect the bird. And the thing of it is that the eagle is so smart also. The eagle has 2 eyelids. So sometimes when the eagle's in the chase by small little birds to get on his back or pick at him, the eagle will fly straight up in there, straight into that sun. And then it starts shutting down those eyelids. And then he can go right close to the sun. As where birds will get blind and they turn around and come back. And that eagle will turn around and come back and open the eyelids and could see. And spiritually they say that when we talk to the hawks, the falcons, our prayers, they in turn find the eagle and said, here's some prayers that these people are saying, and they tell who the people are. The eagle will nod his head, and then he'll fly away. And he'll fly so far, and they said there's a bigger bird up there in the heavens. Well, the bigger bird will take that message, and he'll take it further into the universe for our prayers. So it's like messengers helping each other to the universe. Who could get there? And so we have a bigger bird that's still alive and well, so huge. And it's always said that that big bird really comes around in the spring. And when it flaps its wings, that big bird, you hear the thunderbeams. So that's where the thunderbeams of the word is born. And thunderbeams is very, very sacred. And then we say when the thunderbeam opens its mouth, that's where the lightning comes out of. So that's where the sacred bird is born, and it is. But it is that huge thunderbeam that's out there in the universe. And below him is the eagle. And below the eagle is the hawk and the falcons. So almost in the manner levels of knowledge that this nation has and how they teach us. The eagle is so sacred that nobody ever shoot a bird like that and would eat it. Never. Never hear it. Our Native Americans value the bird nation so much that they don't shoot it and they don't eat it. And I really thought about that today. They don't really eat wild birds at all.
Right.
They leave them alone.
You're doing really good. I appreciate this is going well. The other thing that we're interested in too, and it's kind of right here where you're at, with the regalia. You always see eagle feathers, or somebody uses turkey feathers instead, or the plumes.
Right.
Why do you think that is? Why is the
as some people earn eagle feathers, for instance, veterans, they have earned eagle feathers, or spiritual persons, or the sun dancers. So spiritually, they are authorized to wear eagle feathers. And if a veteran has a dream to put on a regalia for a certain dance, he will build that regalia out of eagle feathers for that purpose, and dance using all these eagle feathers. And if he doesn't have the dream and he wants to dance, then he's going to have to use other types of feathers to build his regalia until a dream comes to him. Then he can switch his regalia to eagle feathers. So the eagle feathers are not just given. It's done through spiritual ceremonies when they said it's okay for you to possess, earn, and wear the eagle feathers. So that's how the spiritual laws has been written, and that's how it always has been done, and it's still been done that way. So it's interesting, when you have a eagle feather, you have to take care of it just as you would take care of some guys will have diamonds. If you took care of your diamond, well, the eagle feather is the same way. You take care of eagle feather just as you take care of goodness, like that. So
Right.
the two different analogies here. It's
Right.
interesting. Because if we just talk about the eagle feather, people would know how to take care of it. But if you cherish a diamond, you would put it in a certain safe place where nobody could touch and see it.
Right.
Well, it's the same thing as the eagle feather. You put it somewhere where nobody will touch it. And eagle feathers are so sacred that women are not supposed to touch it. Because women have their special time in certain months they cannot touch eagle feathers, they'll go near it. So in that sense, it's very spiritual that women don't handle eagle feathers. And that's still here as a spiritual law.
You notice that what Chipi said, when the eagle feather falls,
Yes.
then they take time to address that. What are they doing then?
When the eagle feather falls off your regalia, your mind wasn't in the right place, and there might have been some anger, and you put your feathers on out of anger, and you came and you weren't unhappy, but you're going to do something. So one of the feathers is offended, and you, I better jump off this regalia because I don't want to be part of this anger. So no matter how good you tie it, it'll fall off. And so a veteran has to come and pray with the feather. And the person who has a regalia on has to have a giveaway. Either you donate money, or you donate something worthy, or take your regalia off and donate to somebody that don't have a regalia. Donate the whole thing to them. And then go back and wait for a while, and when you think you're ready, then rebuild another regalia.
So you try to arrive at balance again.
Yeah, come back to balance.
Right.
So when you're going to put on your eagle feathers, it's almost like the whole day of being humble, praying, smudging. Okay, I'm ready to dance. I'm going to get out there, feel good about it. But you can't have anger, bad feelings for others, and then try to wear the eagle feather. It's a bad omen. Consequences for yourself. So that's how it's respected. Respected.
We were talking, and there was talking about regalia, and the obvious thing are feathers, eagle feathers, and those kinds of things. But there are some things. Some are kind of funny, like Little Mickey Mouse or something like that. But other ones are like with dragonflies, or just kind of referencing different animals in their regalia. What is that about?
Dragonflies are about warriors. That's a symbol for a warrior, dragonflies. And somehow when I see a dragonfly, I feel sort of different, and I feel so good about it. A dragonfly, see, there's one on my cap. See, if you look the other side. Turn it around, all the way around. No? One more.
Where's it at? Oh, yeah.
See? It's a dragonfly. And
what is this saying?
It's like you earned it, like eagle feather. So as a veteran, you could wear it.
Right.
Long ago, in probably Little Bighorn to present, you'll see regalias with dragonflies and the warriors. That's a symbol for warriorism.
Okay.
So it's interesting. Or feather, or sometimes horses, or sometimes buffalo. And those are all symbols for a warrior, right, and culture and spiritual. So you'll see certain animals on certain regalias. And sometimes they get these through dreams. For instance, if somebody dreams about coyotes, they'll have a coyote on their beaded coyote on their regalia, or it'll be horses. Mine has a couple of white horses on my regalia, so it's very interesting. When you come from a warrior nation, the horses are part of it. So my regalia has horses connected to it. So.
When we talked, Nick, you mentioned in some ways it's kind of hard to approach just the bird nation because you kind of think of the animal nations and how native culture doesn't refer to them as something lower like animals, but as another nation that's out there. What does that mean to you about human experience? Because there's lots of stories they'll talk about a human who's kind of in a situation, and then the animal has something to do with that relationship. But it seems to say something about the animals and what they possess and the nature of being human. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I always refer back to the Changaleshka, the sacred hoop. And in that quad, there's 4 of them. And the bird nation is one of them. The four-legged is one of them. And then you talk about turtle nation is another one. And then they call them two-legged. That's us. And then Wamak Hashkans is part of it. The littlest animals you can find, they're part of this whole relation system. So the smallest to the huge, the largest animal are all connected in some way. So when we talk about birds, I say, well, the birds are connected to the buffalo, because long time ago, there's a story that is very interesting. How the crow was black. How he got his black wings, became black, and Lakotas were starving, so they found some buffalo. So every time they get close to shoot the buffaloes, because they're so hungry, the crow would fly onto the back of a buffalo and say caw caw caw, and what he's saying is napcha napcha napcha. Napcha means run run run, and it's like caw caw napcha, you know. And when you hear it, that's what he's telling his buffaloes. All the buffaloes run away, and the natives couldn't hunt, and they're more hungry, and these crows would fly away, you know, laughing, caw caw caw, and finally, they got so fed up. Every time they went to hunt, the crows would come back. And so one of the grandpas says to grandson, come here, put this robe on, buffalo robe, crawl out to where the buffaloes are. And then when that crow comes and tells them that we're coming, keep grazing. And then grab that crow legs and we'll take care of it. So Grandpa was mad. The chief was mad. So they did it. It was coming. So again, that crow came, caw, caw, caw. All the buffaloes took off. And here that little boy was crawling. Here that crow landed on his back and said, caw, caw, nam caw. He turned around and grabbed his legs and wrapped him around the buffalo robe and held him. So the warriors came and grabbed him and took him back to the teepee. Somebody tied him up and they were meeting. And the chief got so upset. He said, I don't know what to do with this crow. Either we should shoot it, eat it, or what? And the chief gets up and, here, give me the two legs. He grabbed it and the fire was going to throw it in the fire. There you go, we took care of it. So sit back and enjoy it. After a while, the fire went down and here the crow flew out there. Flew out of the fire, and it was all ash and everything, but it flew out and flew away. And promised not to do that again, ever. I'll never do that again, you know, because he didn't want to die. And here, when he came back, the crows came back, he said, they were all black. And it was interesting. I said, so that's how the crows became, the crowbirds become black because of that.
What about magpies? Does that have any stories about magpies that you've, or a feeling that you get about that bird?
Magpies are close related to crows. They're almost like close relatives. They understand each other's language. They help each other closely. And magpies are such nuisance. They have such a behavior. Probably the behavior problem that we have are the same thing as magpie. So you always equate how the birds behave to how we behave. It's similar.
Right.
And I always say, you know, there's magpies. They're there for a reason too. And nobody ever took the bird or killed a magpie or took its feathers or anything because they're also messengers. You know, and they communicate well with the community a long time ago. So they may be a nuisance, but when they come, there's a purpose why they gather. And they show you out there. They just show you what's going on. They will gather as a group, a circle, what they do out there. And then it makes you think of, oh, this is the message they brought. And then you tell people what the magpies have brought, you know. Mm-hmm. So psychologically, these birds communicate without words long ago. And that's how we know each behavior, each purpose for the bird.
Sure.
Now, if you think of one of them, the swallow. Okay. To me, the swallows are the ones we call habitat for humanity. They come into cities and start building. And what they're trying to tell the people is that you need to build houses. And you need to build them in this manner. So they're trying to tell you how to do the structure, this building, and build it where it's out of the wind. So if you ever see birds built, swallows, it's not where it's windy or where the weather's going to get at it. It's always in the corner somewhere. Mm-hmm. So what they're telling you is that if you look at this concept, you can take it to the mountains, the badlands, and build houses under the rocks. is what this bird nation is trying to teach us.
Sure.
See?
Sure. Well, you think about pueblos, they must have been paying attention to something, the way they built their homes in the desert Southwest. They fit so well into the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Marge, you want to get some coffee for us? Yeah, the swallows also are the ones that come in and eat the fleas and the little bugs that are such a bothersome in a home. So they know where they're at, so they will stay there until all those bugs are eaten. So they're like consumers to cleanse your house.
Right.
So that's what they're there. And most of the birds are house cleaners, if you allow them. They come to pick up the little birds. And that's how this environment recycled itself, by them consuming that. And then they take it somewhere else, and then that person, something else. There's a chain of growth is caused by the birds. See? So every bird you think about, there is a purpose. And when you see the robin is the best sign for everybody. When we have such a terrible blizzard, it's so cold, all of a sudden you see a robin in your yard. Ho, spring is here. And that's the sign of that robin. When the robin comes back, right next time, behind it is a spring. The weather's changing. So that's the sign for that robin, how that robin brings the message to the spring.
Sure.
How close spring is to us. So it's interesting. What do you use in your coffee?
Just black is fine.
So
Well, let me, and we'll do this little thing. We'll do it. We learned some of this off of some other oral traditions. So I'm gonna show you some birds, and then, even if you don't know exactly what it is, if you saw it, what would you refer to it as in Lakota? So, like the first one, we'll do. Sure, this is fine.
It's hot.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, I got the outside right there. Thank you,
You can
dear.
just sit on the floor.
Okay, thank you.
the first left-hand corner,
They're all the same, actually. They're just different pictures of the.
this one I found his hunt, his prey. And so this one also seen what they're looking for. So when they come to the single one flying, he is observing it, but this animal is too big. So when you see 6 of them at the same time, it'd be easier and quicker to tear it must be a antelope that they've seen. So the message is that this one bird went up and found out the best way to bring the antelope down. So now if you see 6 of them flying, they're going to all come down and bring the antelope down.
Sure.
And with the claws, it'd be quicker them to slice it up and cut it up and pick it up and fly away with it.
Sure.
That's what that means.
Sure. And if you saw this particular kind of bird, and they're all the same species there, what would you refer to it as in Lakota?
I'm going to refer to that bird as a wakan,
Okay.
sacred. So we have to offer tobacco to wakan. It's sitting there. Wakan, it's flying in a wakan way, sacred manner.
Okay. And then a hawk, then what would you refer, in Lakota, what do you refer
A
to?
hawk?
Yeah.
It's a spiritual guide who guides you. So you offer tobacco because it's sitting there, and then you'll see it few miles down the road. You'll see that hawk again. Same
Sure.
one.
And
You
then,
offer tobacco.
and in Lakota, what is
Yeah.
hawk? What is the word hawk?
I don't remember that word.
Okay. And then, is it Cetan? Chechan? Was that?
Yeah, Chetan or
Chetan, yeah. Okay. And then what?
this is a beautiful one about the eagle. When you see eagle sitting there, sit in a sacred manner, and so it should not be disturbed or bothered. Just keep moving. And when it's flying somewheres, because somewheres it's needed for a prayer, so that's why it's flying. And when you see 6 of them flying, that's it's a good thing to see 6. It's a great omen, good omen. So you offer tobacco, because they're all fly in a sacred manner or sit in a sacred way.
Okay.
And so they're trying to teach us something. We don't walk in a sacred manner, or we don't sit in a sacred way. So this is what sometimes they come and show themselves, that this is the behavior that we have to look at for ourselves. So when a bird flies fast and high at the eagle, it's needed somewhere spiritually, so it's got to get there.
Right.
And that's why you see them flying. And if it's just flying low, it's looking for the next meal. But it's just spiritual, so if you have something that it could eat, turn around and you drop it, and you keep going. It'll find it. You just put tobacco with that.
Right.
And I always tell people, if you're going to travel and see birds, it's best to take a raw kidney. Take raw kidney. If you see animals, or if you're going to go animal watching, take raw kidney. And then before you offer it, slice it up in many ways and then set it down.
Okay.
And then that means that when you do that, and if you need to be back there to see them again, they will know who you are. And then you can always set that down and wait. Sure enough, they will come back to the same place for that
Okay.
meal. So
Then eagle is that Wombly?
yeah, Wombly.
Wombly.
Wombly, yeah.
Okay. Is there? Do you know in the language if there's when they say spotted eagle as opposed to like a golden eagle or
Wombly
bald
Gleshka.
eagle? Okay.
Wombly Gleshka.
Galeshka is
Yeah,
the spot or
spotted eagle.
yes.
Wombly Gleshka.
And we're trying to sort this out with, is the spotted eagle an eagle or is it a hawk?
It's the eagle.
It's an eagle.
Eagle, yeah.
But it doesn't have a white, it's not
No.
like a bald eagle.
Yeah. But there's also the golden eagle.
Right.
Golden eagle.
Is there a difference culturally in viewing the spotted eagle versus a golden eagle or a red-tailed hawk or something like that? I mean, are they all, they're not the same.
They're not the same, but they're equally spiritual and equally sacred to people. The eagle. So the above them is the word eagle, sacred, Wombly.
Okay.
But below them, they're different, but they're all the same.
Is it descriptive?
Yeah,
More like an
descriptive.
adjective.
Right.
Right.
So it's the same thing, but different colors. And the reason why they have different colors is because, like, if you make that staff, see, the staff is all spotted eagle, and kind of like a warrior. So when they make staffs, sometimes they all spotted eagles
Right.
to make a staff like that. And that staff represents my family that's gone through all the wars since Little Bighorn.
Do you mind if I take a shot at that? What about? Why don't you tell me some of the story behind that?
When long ago they started with just the it looked like a cane, they call it staff, and they used that with one feather, and when you use that to go after you go into an enemy's camp, and you take that and you touch your enemy without hurting him and run out. That's called kamiku. That's what that means. So as the more you do it, and the more good deeds you do, they'll give you an eagle feather, and this is where you put it on as a staff. And so all those feathers represent different conflicts. It's from feathers and pins that represent the Little Bighorn, a relative that fought Little Bighorn. And then it goes to World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Bosnia, Afghanistan, and Iraq. So my whole family has gone through all that. And so that represents them in that staff. And it's very honorable to be given and it's got tobacco ties, it's got medicine bags, it's got horsehair, the representation of a warrior staff. So
And women are not supposed to. Are the women not to touch a staff?
Yeah, they can't go near a staff and touch it. It has to all be held by men.
Okay, and is it similar to a flag in when you're?
Yes,
It's a
this is the
standard.
opposite of the flag.
Okay.
So the flag is here and this is here. This is the way.
Okay.
So when you have ceremonies, you can set this up at a powwow,
Right.
and you set it up ahead with the flags
Right.
to represent like my families and relatives. I can set that up there, bring giveaways, donate money, songs, so that songs will be sung for them during that powwow. So
Sure.
people have opportunities to do that.
That in the olden days, the traditional use of, did it have that kind of standard bearer kind of coat of arms kind of
Yes.
thing? It represented the clan or the family or
Right,
something?
right. That's what it represents. And
Right.
everybody has one.
Right.
So then you pass it on to the next generation and tell them a story about it. So
Right.
the oral culture has come many, many years and has made it this far. And this project will even strengthen what we're doing here.
Right.
You know, people will want to know more about it.
Right.
And you know, some of the birds that we talked about, there's other birds that are so beautiful, but we don't know anything about them. But they know about us. So the best way to know about a bird is like going to the Black Hills or in the forest where there's so many birds and observe the bird to what it's doing in that tree, or where does it land, where does it stay, where do you find this, and then you can really figure out what's the purpose of this bird is.
Sure.
So they're asking us to learn, think. They're not going to give us a written word document. This is what we do.
Right.
So this is called oral culture, oral literature, oral knowledge that they're trying to tell us. And then when the Wakian comes back, without looking at it, we try to listen to what the Wakian, which way it's going, why it's going. When does it come back? How strong is it? And the four-legged, for instance, the horse, the cow gets so nervous because they never made a contact with the thunder, Wakian. So they'll get so nervous, and then when they hear thunder, they start running. And when the sweat builds, that energy from Wakian will come down and strike the animal. And there's nothing left of it. But Wakian's telling me that four-legged is that. You're my relative and you're supposed to learn these things. You're supposed to learn about me. But you're not learning, so I got to bring you home. And this is why it's happening.
Right.
So
And I like the way you're describing the observing. You've done it a few times where you talk about observing magpies or observing birds and what they're doing together. They're communicating with each other. Let's kind of talk about some other animals. Let's talk about the Buffalo Nation. What do we learn from the Buffalo Nation?
humility and patience. But we don't ever observe them long enough. When you watch a buffalo, how quiet, how patiently, and how humble they are. And they just sit there and watch, or they just sit there and graze.